Sir, go to hell with gasoline draws on. Hey nerds, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing another episode of Rouge, the series on my channel where I simultaneously put on makeup and do a book review. And on this episode, let me reach over, hold on. We have Starlit by Rinna. Y'all, the stuff in this book, oh my gosh. But before we get into that, please leave a like. It really helps me and I appreciate it. Thank you. Now let's get into this. So if this looks familiar, this was one of the books that I had on my previous half price books haul. And wow. So before we start, I want to kind of explain why it took me so long to do this video. For one, I have been super busy. I'm not going to get into the details and bore you. I've just been so busy, okay? And also I read this, I started this and finished it at the end of May, and I'm just now finishing the notes. I just finished the notes today on this, and I've been so busy, I haven't had time to write the notes out for this video on this book. I've been busy. So long story short, that's why this took so long, okay? But I'm gonna try my best next time to find more time to read and all that stuff. Another part of why this took so long is because I changed up my method on taking notes. So usually I'll take notes and read at the same time, but when I was reading the block party, I decided to do that separately. I would read first and then take notes, and I did that with this. I'm gonna go back to reading and taking notes simultaneously so it doesn't take as long, but just a little, just to clear that up. Okay. Oh, and if this is your first time seeing my face, hi, hello, how are you? I'm so glad you're here. I just want to say this. I'm not a makeup artist. I'm not a beauty guru. I just smear stuff on my face and hope for the best, so just getting that out there, okay? So this book follows our main character, Tally, who is an aspiring actress. We see her crazy journey of rising to fame. We see the good, the bad, and the ugly. There's scandal, betrayal, heartbreak, sex, revenge, friendship. There's a lot going on here today. I know I say that all the time, with each book that I read, but for real, this book is insane. It kind of gave me Poor Little Bitch Girl vibes. So, and y'all know how much I love that book. I did a read and read on that too. This one right here. Go look at it if you haven't. Alright, let's meet the characters before we get off into the plot, okay? So like I just said, our main character is Tally. She's described as the girl next door type of look. She has brunette hair. She's not average, but she's just simple, And her life dream is to become a very famous, successful actress. That's, that's what she wants. And Tally has two best friends, Sadie and Mandy. So Sadie is described to be short, plump, red frizzy hair and freckles, and she is also an aspiring actress. And then we have Mandy, who is also an aspiring actress. She's described to be short, average, and flat-chested. That's not me being shady, that's how the book literally describes her, okay? Then we have Susie, the main antagonist of this story. Y'all are not going to like Susie, by the end of this. You're not gonna like her from the beginning, but I'm telling y'all, Susie ain't it. Let me calm down. We ain't even gotten into the book yet. And then we have Gabriel, who is this hunky lead in a primetime TV show. Basically, this universe's Grey's Anatomy. He wishes he was Patrick Dempsey. He wishes he was Jesse Williams. He wishes he was Eric Dane. He ain't all that. Then we have Mac, who is an independent producer / director. And he is just trying to fight off, his parents' wants and needs of just being just like them, and he is very resentful of them. He's just trying to be his own person. And lastly, we have Josh, who is a Hollywood agent who has a booger sugar problem. Every time I read something about fame or Hollywood, there's at least one character who has a booger sugar problem. Is that based on true? Is that based on true events? Does everybody in Hollywood have a booger sugar addiction? Those are all the characters that matter, so we're gonna get into the plot. So the story starts with Tally, Sadie, and Mandy working a Vanity Fair party as waitresses. They're quietly fangirling in the corner because this is like an A-list celebrity event and they're just trying to keep their cool and their jobs. So Tally sees a couple celebrities go up to the balcony and she's gonna follow them because she has this thing where she collects random items that celebrities leave behind. For example, she has a Kleenex that Halle Berry like threw away, and she has Robert Downey Jr.'s like empty Tic Tac box. It's kind of weird and creepy, but hey, I digress. And then the whole time, Mac is watching her from across the room and he is in love. He's like, who is this? Like, you know, she's so beautiful. She's too beautiful to be working at a, you know, working as a waitress. Who is this girl? And he's also here with Josh, and he is celebrating his first ever Oscar, you know, win. And he's not really caring about it because his dad, who was like this really big producer, big name, you know, in the industry, he did not acknowledge his win at all. He don't care. And Mac is very resentful of that. Next chapter, we're moving fast, I know, already. Next chapter, and we are introduced to Susie, the villain. She's on the way to the Vanity Fair party with her date and current fling, Calvin, who is a movie director. And this is where we learn that Susie did not get to the elevated status that she is at because of pure talent. She has and sucked half of Hollywood to get where she's at right now, okay? She's also known to get around outside of, you know, the movie set. She likes to take on like little side pieces and have them as playthings, honey. Yeah. And we also learned that she is bisexual, so anyone who she wants to claim as her side piece, it's fair game. So she just got done giving Calvin some neck because she wants to be a lead in a movie that he's directing. And she was like, maybe this'll persuade him. Let me give him a little Gok 3000. Maybe I can secure my spot. Mostly well known for her recurring role on a TV show called Dana Point. So as they're pulling up to the party, like, you know, readjusting themselves, a car like runs into them from behind, and once they get out, like kind of like fall out onto the carpet or whatever. And then lo and behold, one of Susie's little playthings sees that she's with Calvin. That hurts his little ego and all that stuff, and then the plaything and the director get into a fight over Susie. So now we're back on Tally, and after she sees that Johnny Depp has dropped something for her collection, she runs into Gabe, you know, bootleg Patrick Dempsey. Tally is starstruck because, you know, he's just so famous and he's so handsome, and he's like, oh my god, like he's standing right in front of me. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. He flirts with her and he kisses her, you know, just a complete stranger. It's fine. He don't know her. She don't know him. And while this whole exchange is happening, Mac walks in on them like making out, and it hurts his little feelings because he was like, oh, I really wanted to talk to her. She's so beautiful, but she out here sucking face with a celebrity. Yeah, he's so enamored with Tally, and he leaves with his tail between his legs. He a little hurt. So the next chapter is Tally and her friends in acting class, and they have this impossible to impress teacher. He's an asshole. He's very hard on all the students. And Tally finally does something that he likes, and he's just gushing over her, saying how good she is. Meanwhile, he ripped into Mandy for being, you know, awful or something. It was a whole thing. It was kind of, it was intense. Then it switches over to Susie, and we see her trying to sue the producer of Dana Point. His name is Bert. She's trying to sue him because he won't pause like something in her contract so she can go film for the movie that Calvin's gonna put her in, and he won't budge. So when he doesn't give her what she wants, she comes up with a revenge plan. You're gonna learn really quickly that revenge is Sadie's forte, or excuse me, Susie's forte. So she calls up one of her old friends from her escort days, and they start plotting, okay? So she has her friend invite Bert over for some playtime. Playtime. And we find out that Bert likes to be the sub. That's all I'm gonna say. He likes to be the sub. And the entire time they're playing, Susie is just waiting for her moment. So Susie takes pictures of, you know, Bert being slutted out. And, you know, dude's tied up and all that stuff. Like, it's a lot going on. And she is going to use these to blackmail him, obviously. She's going to use this to blackmail him into letting her out of her contract. And it works, because he don't want that out. He, you know, it's like one of his skeletons in the closet. Next chapter, and Tally's at the gym, and she gets discovered by this agent named Steve. he's not really important. He's just kind of old, creepy. He has a thing for beautiful young women, of course. He has like this pattern of dating young, beautiful starlets who really don't find him attractive, because each time he finds a young, beautiful starlet, they end up leaving him for someone like richer, younger, more attractive. And even though he knows that's what's going to happen with Tally, he takes a chance on her anyway. And Tally doesn't feel anything toward him. She's just glad that someone's finally trying to help her out. It's like, sweetheart, he has a motive. Yeah. So Steve takes her to a party so she can start networking and getting her name out there. And he's being weirdly possessive over her for some reason. Like, y'all just met like, what, a few days ago. She don't even like you like that. And then so when men are starting to come like notice her and talk to her, he's like, they're just trying to get in your pants. That's what you're trying to do too, sir. Don't act like you a saint, because you're not. We know about you. And Steve also gets a little touchy with her, like not too bad, but you know, touching the small of her back, touching her waist and all that stuff. And Tally's like, okay, hopefully this ends soon. Like hopefully a role lands in my lap so I don't have to keep putting up with him like putting his hands on me and all that stuff. So next chapter, Tally is coming out of an audition. She did not get the part and she's sad. But despite that, she decides to meet up with her friends and check on them because, like I said, their acting teacher really ripped into them in that previous chapter. So they decided to go get lunch. So y'all remember Josh, the guy that Max at the party with, the Hollywood agent who has a blood sugar problem? Sadie tells Tally that she is now his assistant, so she's working like right underneath him. So Sadie and Tally are both waiting for Mandy, and she walks in, honey. Mandy done went and got some work done. She went and got the titties filled out. She got brand new double D's, honey. Mind you, every guy in the place is like, alright. And Tally and Sadie are like, why would you do this to yourself? Like, you were so, like you was fine before. What's going on? And she was like, listen, I know I'm not as talented as the two of you, but at least I'll start getting some more attention. This broke my heart right here because she felt the need to change her body to get, you know, some attention and be noticed. It should never have to come to that. And I'm just like, oh, Mandy, damn it, Mandy. But this is a sad, you know, and true part of the Hollywood lifestyle. Like, this is what it does to you. It warps your self-image and you think you need to change when you really don't. It's just, you know. So we find out that Mandy spent most of her savings getting this boob job, and now she is ass out. She needs to find out how to pay her rent in a week. This guy approaches her and gives her an agency card. She's like, oh, acting opportunity, yay. And so they look up the agency. It's an adult film agency. But Sadie has some good news. So she shares that one of Josh's clients, Susie, like dropped her role on Dana Point, and now it's open. Like, there's a spot open. So the time comes for Tally to audition for Dana Point. She blows everybody away and she is now on the show. And she shares the good news with Steve, you know, the agent who's touchy-feely or whatever he is, and he's sour because, you know, he's thinking that Tally's gonna leave him behind, which, yeah, because baby, she about to do big things. And it's like weird because y'all were never a thing. Y'all were never even romantic. Even, you know, if you think that was what it was in your head, Tally never liked you like that, baby. So I don't know why you getting all pissy. So Mandy gets to the audition to find out that, you know, the role's already been filled. And so as a last resort, she goes to the adult film agency. So she gets to the studio, she's turning around and she's seeing some things. So being like the classically trained actress that she is, she's asking about character details, you know, method acting, all that stuff like that. And they're like, this is the corn industry, no one really cares about your acting skills. And literally within 10 minutes of her being there, she films her first scene. And everything about it was real. There was no faking going on in front of the camera, okay? Turns out Mandy's a natural, everybody loves her. So now she is going to be working as a porn star. There's always one that is super uneven. I can never catch a break on it. I just want to have it match one time. Ugh, now I gotta redo my side of the face. Damn you! So it's the next chapter and Tally is just trying to get to the new atmosphere because she is new to the show. She gets the rundown from her makeup artist, you know, what the do's and don'ts are on the set. The cast isn't very warm towards Tally at first go, and it's very disheartening. In the cafeteria in the studio lot, she runs into Gabe because I guess he's across the way filming for his show. And things didn't end like on a good note the last time they saw each other, because you know they got into a little tiff when they were making out upon first meeting each other. So she leaves, and she leaves her script behind. So Gabe comes to her trailer to give the script back, and they end up making out. Things got hot and heavy real fast. Clothes was coming off and everything. Things are cut short when Tally is needed back on the set, so they don't do nothing like that. So now we're back to Susie, and we are on set of Calvin's movie. And Josh is wondering, where the hell is Susie? This is when Josh is informed that Susie has been causing a whole lot of trouble since she's been on set. She's been harassing the crew and the natives. They're shooting in Egypt. She did something to a camel. No one will go into detail about what happened. They just say she did something bad to a camel. Also, she's sleeping with some of the crew. Shocker. She's being a diva, complaining about every little thing. So Calvin makes the decision that he needs the camel more than he needs Susie, so he kicks her off the shoot. So Josh is tasked with delivering the bad news to Susie, and it goes just as well as you think it does. And on the flight back home, Susie is like telling Josh that she needs to get her role back on Dana Point, and she's like, you better make it happen or it's gonna be your ass. And this is where I'm just like, like, Susie is truly such a spoiled little bitch, because you just blackmailed Bert so you could go over to Egypt and you acted ass in Egypt, and now you want your old role back. Like, honey, you did not get to where you were because of talent. You suck and is what you do. It's like now you want to go crawling back to the very show you walked out on. Girl, bye. So it's the next chapter, and Tally is getting ready for this charity event. It's like a celebrity NASCAR racing thing. Tally is sure she's gonna win because she used to race on the back roads of her old hometown. So she's like, I got this in the bag, don't worry about it. I'm gonna win for my charity. Sadie and Mandy are with her, and they're headed to the event, and this is where Sadie tells the girls that Josh proposed to her and they're getting married. Also, he's kicked his booger sugar habit, so good for him. But yeah, the girls are happy for her. It's a happy moment. So they get to the event, and Tally sees Gabe. Gabe's flirting. She ain't with it. She's like, yeah, whatever. Leave me alone. I'm only here to win for my charity. Ain't nobody worried about you, baby. And she not with it because ever since their little rendezvous in her trailer, he's been playing hard to get. He ain't picking up the phone and answering the text. So she's like, I'm not with you flirting with me right now. Like, go over there, do mind your business. And this motivates Tally even more to win the race. She's like, oh, he going down. So for the first 4 laps, she's letting Gabe win and everything like that. But around for the 6th lap, that's when she catches up and she's like neck and neck with him, right? Then all of a sudden, Gabe's car spins out of control and it crashes. Tally feels bad, so she pulls over to go see if he's okay. They share a moment, you know, Gabe and Tally kiss, and then this goes all over the damn magazines and stuff. So next chapter, and Tally takes Gabe home, you know, because he just almost died. And she takes notice of how messy his house is. She's like, you are a famous primetime television star and you ain't got no maid. She also notices this wall full of like honey bear jars, you know, like these things right there. He has a full wall of them. And he's like, oh, I started collecting those with my niece and just kind of became a thing, so I collect them now. And she's like, okay. Alright. So totally ignoring the fact that he almost died like a few hours ago, he suggests that him and Tally get it on in front of a gaping window. They end up, you know, banging in front of an open window and all that stuff. So Tally wakes up after and she finds that Gabriel has left, and she finds a note. And the note says, had another engagement, please leave through the back door. It's the only one not on a spring lock. Have a nice night, G. What the f***? So Tally doesn't know Gabe's like physical address, so she's basically stranded in the hills of Hollywood. And on top of all that, she done locked her purse and one of her shoes inside his house. Ooh, I would have been hot, boy. You gonna slut me out, treat me like a whore, and leave a note and leave me by myself and I don't know where I'm at with no ride home? Gabe, you a hoe for real. Like, you such a hoe. And Tally is humiliated by this, so she's, you know, she's kind of licking her wounds, and this will not be the last time. And the next day he sends her a note like, miss you. I'm just like, boy, f*** you. Like, for real. Then after a week, he calls. He's like, oh my god, Tally, like, baby, I miss you so much. Baby, please. Like, shut the f. Like, just shut up. Stop talking. Stop existing. She knew it was bullshit, but, you know, she agrees to, like, see him anyway. Even her friends called her out for acting stupid. They're like, girl, what's going on? What are you doing? And of course, Tally ignores them. That's just great. So Tally and Gabe start dating, and she notices that every time they go out together, the paparazzi happens to be in, you know, in attendance. And this is because Gabe purposely tips off the paparazzi and tells them where they're at, and he gets off on the fact that him and Tally are being like photographed together, and he only kisses her for the camera, not because he wants to. Also, he won't let Tally sleep over, but when he does, he doesn't sleep in the same room as her. Next chapter, and Susie is back from Egypt, and word of her, you know, diva antics has traveled fast in the Hollywood Hills. So Josh tries to get her jobs on like other shows, but no one will take her. No one wants to work with her. And all she wants is her role back on Dana Point, and she's like, Josh, go talk to Bert and give me my job back. So Susie finds out that Josh is getting married, and he's getting married to one of Tally's best friends. And she done heard about Tally already, you know, how she's the new girl in Dana Point, so she's obviously jealous and pissed. And so Susie's ears perk up at this, and she's like, you know what, let me throw you a bachelor party, and let me throw the, you know, the fiance a bachelorette on me, I insist. She ain't for real, you know she's gonna start some mess. So Susie brings a present for Bert, and she's like, Josh, hand this to him when you see him. And Bert gets the present, and he sees that it's copies of the photos that Susie took when he was having playtime. So this was enough to, like, you know, scare him into letting her back on the show. So Josh tells Sadie that Susie is going to be throwing her a bridal shower, and Sadie's like, okay, but I don't even know who she is. And after some convincing, she's like, okay, fine, you know what, whatever, I'll let her throw it. It's the bridal shower now, and Susie invited all these random ass people that Sadie has no idea who they are. And mind you, she didn't invite none of Sadie's family or any of her other friends, but Mandy and Tally are there. And let me tell y'all something, this bridal shower is the nastiest shit I've read about in a long time. Cause what the fuck is going on here? Susie had some strippers come out, basically booty ball ass naked, looking whipped cream off of each other and shit. Like, obviously Sadie is upset by this, and Tally's super uncomfortable. I think the only one who was enjoying it other than Susie was Mandy, because, you know, that's like her line of work now. She's into the nasty. And then Susie has the audacity to start making out with and dry humping the strippers. And knowing exactly what she's doing, because she's a shitster, she's like, oh, well, I threw Josh the exact same party last night. And this has Sadie feeling awful, because now she knows why Josh didn't come home last night. So it's the next chapter, and Susie is back on Dana Point, and she's navigating her way through the set and everything, trying to get back to where she was, because she used to have control over the whole joint. She'd been back on the show for like 2 seconds. She already making demands, acting like a diva, and she's always throwing shade at Tally, because, you know, she's the new younger person in the building. And Bert is afraid to, like, reprimand her because, you know, of what she's holding over his head. All she cares about is the comeback of her character, who was in a coma. First day she gets back, there's tension. Like, there's tension. It's either people being afraid of her, people can't stand her, or both. And to make matters worse, Susie starts telling rumors about Tally all over the set to ruin her experience. But these rumors don't hold up for long, you know, because Tally, being the professional that she is, she just keeps, you know, being herself, being the sweetheart, and she kills the whole thing with kindness. And she's automatically back in good graces with everyone on the set. I don't know if this is gonna turn out the way I want it to. Maybe this isn't the right lip for this. I'm gonna keep going though. Next chapter, and Tally finds out that she has been nominated for an Emmy, her first Emmy, for Outstanding Supporting Actress. Come on, Tally, that's right, that's what I'm talking about, baby. And then all she was thinking about was, wait till I tell Gabriel. Girl, f him. We don't care about Gabe over here. So one night after work, she goes to Gabe's house to tell him the good news, and he's not all that excited. He's jealous, if anything. Like, he's so jealous of her, Cause he ain't get nominated, haha. And she's trying to like, you know, share this moment with him, and of course all he wants to do is have sex. And Tally's like, no, I'm trying to like, you know, tell you some good news, and he's just acting like, you know, a bitch made boy. I gotta start my lips over because I look like I don't know. And just when you think things couldn't get worse, cause they do. Some random girl walks out like of Gabe's room and it's like, hey, we coming to the hot tub or what? This whole time he had another girl in his house, half naked. She don't like that, of course, so she leaves, she upset, and then Mandy and Sadie were like, we told you so. Like, we told you he wasn't shit. And then, so Tally takes Sadie and Mandy up to this beautiful ranch looking over Beverly Hills, and she reveals that she purchased a house on that property. So she's doing well for herself. Good job, Tally. Chapter 17, and we're at Tally's wedding, and it's described to be this really big, over-the-top, beautiful event. Sadie wishes it was more intimate, you know, because she just wanted like her close friends and family there. But being that Josh is like such a big agent, like all of his industry friends are taking up the damn space. And some of those industry friends include Susie and this whore, this showed up to her wedding wearing white. Mandy, being the writer that she is, she was like, you want me to push that to the champagne fountain? Because I will. I was like, me. Now it switches to Mac's POV. Remember him? The one that has a crush on Tally? Yeah. He's at the wedding and he's watching her from across the room like he usually does. And he notices that Gabe is not like with her. So he's like, this is my chance to finally go talk to her. And when he does like try to go, he's stopped by Josh to have a conversation. So after he's done with Josh, he goes to find Tally on the balcony, and just when he's about to go up and talk to her, guess who appears out of thin air? Freaking Gabe. So Mac leaves defeated once again, and he's just gonna focus on going to shoot this new movie that he's working on. So it switches back to Tally's POV, and you know, Gabe is caressing and, you know, trying to get her to forgive him for being a dick. Gabe has seduced Tally, and of course she gives in to him again. So annoying. Wake up. And this was like, okay, I like Tally, but she was really starting to piss me off at this point in time. It's like, how many times does this man have to play in your face before it's enough for you? So it's the next chapter, and Tally and Gabe are back together. And now they're going to the Emmys together. Ooh. And Tally is wearing this sickening red Dolce & Gabbana gown. I know she ate that up. I don't even know what it looked like. I just had to imagine it. I know she ate that up. Ooh, come on, Dolce & Gabbana. And of course, Gabe is being all lovey-dovey just because they're in public, you know, his little thing. So when she steps away from the festivities for a minute to take a break, she overhears someone talking about her financial advisor named Tanner. Turns out, Tanner was arrested for security fraud and embezzlement. So all of his clients have been drained of most of, if not all of their money, including Tally. Tally nearly has a heart attack hearing this, like, duh, she just found out that she's broke. Especially because she just bought that big ass house, expensive house on the ranch. So she's like, how am I gonna, you know, how am I gonna pay my mortgage if I'm broke? She leaves the party to talk to her manager to find out what's going on, and he's fumbling for the answer because Tanner f***ed him over too. He ain't got no money either. And her manager is like, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. You broke as a joke. So Josh suggests that she start looking for work outside of Dana Point, especially since she's on a hiatus now. And then he tells her that there's an indie film that's about to be in production in Paris, and it could be a good opportunity for her to jump on. Tally's all for it, and she's gonna take the opportunity. And this bruises Gabe's ego because he's jealous of the opportunity that Tally is getting. She's going to Paris and he ain't. Haha. So to console him, oh, they're alone, by the way. This is after Josh tells, you know, Tally about the movie. So they're at Gabe's house, and so she tries to console him, and she, you know, wants to give him a kiss. Instead of reaching in to like kiss her back, he like pushes her on the bed, you know, pushes her down, flips her over, and starts to, you know, and he's being so aggressive that Tally has to beg him to stop. So he does, and he turns away from her like she did something to him, like it was her fault. I say this all the time, but oh, man ruined everything. Chapter 19, and now Tally is in Paris, and she's filming for a movie called Cloistered. And she's having a time, y'all. She's having a good time. The people, the food, the culture, she's taking it all in. Enjoying herself. She's having a time. So for this past week, they've been shooting on this like little Parisian side street. And she noticed that there's a man that comes to watch film every day. He's like kind of scraggly looking. He'll be across the street at a cafe with a little espresso. He kind of blends in with the crowd that, you know, comes over to watch the movie film. So currently Tally is not having a good time because she keeps having to redo this scene of, you know, her being slapped, and she's not happy about it. So the mystery man comes to set and he starts arguing with the director. And the mystery man comes over and takes Tally away from the set. Turns out this mystery man is actually Mac. Remember how I said he was leaving after the wedding to go film a movie? It's the same movie that Tally's on. So Tally didn't know it was Mac at first, so she's like, okay, there's a stranger trying to take me somewhere, and she ends up punching him in the balls. She finds out that it's Mac, she apologizes, and then she offers to make dinner for him. So after this, over the course of time, they're starting to get to know each other and bond, and they have a little good, you know, rapport going on. It's nice. And this led to them becoming romantic, and Tally has never been so satisfied. She's finally with the man who knows what he's doing, for one, and knows how to take care of her. Like, the lovemaking is so gentle and sensual. Mac is not selfish. He lets her finish before he even thinks about finishing himself. Honey, he's a man. Filming wraps up and now it's time to go home, and guess who was waiting at the airport? F***ing Gabe. And what does Tally do? She goes with him. Her and Mac never made it official, and Mac is regretting that deeply right now. He should have just told her like straight up how he felt, and he was not afforded that opportunity because he just wanted to procrastinate, I guess, or he was scared to tell her, I don't know. So chapter 20, and Tally and Gabe go from the airport back to their place. Tally's exhausted. She's like, you know what, I just want to rest, I just want to chill. And of course Gabe wants to get his wet. Trigger warning, I'm about to talk about something graphic and like, you know, bad, so skip ahead to the time stamp on the screen if you don't want to hear about this. So in no time, he's on her and he's being too rough like always. Tally tries to hit him to get him off of her, but he just pins her hands back. And in this moment, all she can think about is Mac, you know, how gentle and compassionate that he is, because Gabe has never given that to her since they've been together. So Gabe takes her to the chair where they did it for the first time, and he's telling her there's one thing that they didn't get to do during that time. So he goes to the wall of the honey bear jars and he starts smearing honey all over her. We find out that this was never a thing that he used to do with his niece. He has a honey kink. A honey kink? Oh my god. He likes to pour it over himself and other women when they do the dirty. And he reveals since like the moment he met her, he's wanted to do this to her. So he had like an ulterior motive this whole entire time. I'm not going to describe it in detail, but in short, he pours honey all over her and he proceeds to R-word her. Listen, I've read some disturbing things, but this right here, like, I felt physically ill. Like, it's just too much. I'm gonna move on. But Tally finally says no more. So she takes the chair and hits Gabe over the head with it. And I was like, yes! That's right! That's what I'm talking about! That's what I've been waiting on! In my opinion, she ain't doing enough for me. I would've f***ed him up. I would've beat his ass. I'm just glad she got out of there, because oh my gosh, y'all, I don't know how long I was gonna be able to read that going on. It was hard to read. It was so hard to read. After leaving Gabe's house, she goes to Mac to apologize, and then she tells Mac what Gabe did to her. So Mac, having all the connections as a producer, he makes some calls and he gets Gabe fired off of his show. Like, freaking finally! Oh my god! And there's this part where he's like, he's not gonna get arrested because he's such a big star and he has a lot of money, so the most he'll probably get is a slap on the wrist. And I was like, oh. I would have summoned the spirit of Helen McCarter, Bernadine Harris, and Lisa Whitfield. That's all I'm gonna say. So next chapter, and a little bit of time has gone by. Tally is finally at peace. Things are going great with Mac. She's doing well in life in general. She's just having a time. She's having a great time. And the movie that they did in Paris did so well, she was able to pay off her house in full. We learned that Tally and Mandy's acting careers have taken off. Meanwhile, Sadie has kind of been, you know, her passions kind of died down. She got so busy working for Josh, and then when they got married, she just didn't have the time for it anymore. The girls are also very busy, so they kind of grew apart. Not really, but you know, they don't see each other as much. So with all this new time on her hands, being that she's married to a rich agent, she doesn't have to work or lift a finger anymore, she offers to decorate Tally's entire house. This is her new little hobby now. She's gonna be an interior decorator, honey. Next chapter, and we're back in Susie's POV. She's still a hater, still talking shit on set. She notices that everyone likes Tally more than her, and that pissed her off, girl. She don't like that. And the show's ratings have skyrocketed since Tally was added to the cast. So during a gossip session with her and her makeup artist, she learns all the tea about Tally, Gabe, and Mac. And of course she gets to, like, you know, plot and shit. This is another opportunity for her to start more mess. So now she plans to break Tally and Mac up. Susie then goes to have a chat with Mac's dad, who is the head of the damn studio. Doing what she does best, she feeds Mac's dad lies about Tally, and this obviously pisses him off because his son is of high degree and he's hearing all these bad things about this girl that he's dating, so it's not looking too good. So it's the next chapter, and Tally and Mac are on their way to Mac's parents' house to have dinner, and she's nervous because, you know, first time meeting the parents, she wants to make a good first impression. All the pressure is in the room. They go to the parents' house, and the parents are not impressed, honey. They are so rude. They are so rude to her. They believe that they're superior to Tally because they're blue bloods and they have like all this status and fame and fortune and a girl, whatever. And so in the middle of dinner, Mac's dad outright says that he can do better and basically just disrespects the hell out of Tally right in front of her. Like, she's sitting right there. We also learn here that the funding for the film that they did in Paris was funded by the family's company, so Mac's dad withdraws the funds, okay, being petty. So now Mac has to find someone to invest in the film so he's not, like, you know, in the red and broke. I also love how he stuck up for Tally, you know, basically told his dad to keep his money because he wasn't gonna break up with her just because he didn't like her. I was like, okay. So it's the next chapter, and Tally is planning to have an exclusive first showing of the movie at her house. And Sadie tells her that one of her neighbors is like a really rich, prominent somebody. She's a somebody. She's some kind of like, she's married to someone who's like really rich, and so that makes her a rich somebody. You know how it goes. And so she was like, you know, Tally, you should invite her to the screening, and Tally agrees. So that night, the rich lady shows up with a few other people, and she loves the movie, so she agrees to invest in the movie, saving Mac's ass. So all is well again, spirits are high. Mac and Tally are just so in love, and they are so in love that Mac proposes to her on the freaking balcony. I was like, ah! And Tally says yes, so we're about to have a wedding. Chapter 25 now. Everyone's gotten word of the wedding. It's in every magazine. It's a very big deal, love, okay? And you know Susie's in a corner seething somewhere. You know she mad. Because her plan didn't work, so she is heated. And this freaking demon goes as far as to enlist Gabe to help her, you know, with some more revenge, some more sabotage, okay? I said sabotage with a B. And Gabe was like telling her what happened with the honey thing, and he was like, she liked it, she wanted it. I'm not, you know, I'm not a grabist. And I'm like, sir, go to hell with gasoline draws on. Next chapter, and Tally goes to the doctor, get a little checkup, and my least favorite thing to happen in books ever happens here in this chapter. She finds out that she's pregnant. And you know what? She don't know who the baby daddy is, okay? The timeline was too close between her and Gabe like breaking up and her and Matt getting together. So she don't know who the daddy is. Next day on set, she finds Gabe at her trailer wanting to talk and everything, and she's like, I ain't with it, leave me alone. He's like, oh please, like, I just want to say I'm sorry, da 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 da. Whoop whoop whoop. So it switches POV, and now we're in a meeting with Mac and Susie, and Susie tries to put it into Mac's head that Tally's just using you, she doesn't really love you, and obviously he doesn't believe her. So Susie pulls out this video of Gabe leaving Tally's trailer, and he is heartbroken. He can't believe it. I'm like, oh, you so dumb. Wait. I mean, yes, it looks incriminating, but the fact that you have no faith in your fiance, what's happening, boo? This pissed me off so bad. I was heated. And Susie decides to console him. And by console him, I mean give him neck. And this got me mad because, like I said, you had no faith in your fiance, so you decided to cheat on her days before your wedding. Let me calm down, because oh, I wanted to punch this book. Susie would have had to see me. She would have had to run my face. Ricky, when I catch you, Ricky. That's how I was feeling. Next chapter, and it's the day of the wedding. Tally is waiting for Mac, but he is nowhere to be found, okay? Sadly, because of Susie's bullshit, Mac, like, jilts Tilly, and she's just heartbroken. I would be too. This kind of reminded me of the Sex and the City movie where Big didn't show up to the library. That gave me some PTSD. I had to sort of have flashbacks. Later that night, Tally receives a DVD, and it's the sex tape that Susie and Mac made. Apparently they were recording that. And as she watched it, she could tell that Mac wasn't really enjoying it. He was just kind of trying to do it to like kind of forget about Tally. And the very next day, Susie and Mac get married. And this heinous bitch, she wears the exact same dress that Tally was supposed to wear. So not only did you steal her husband, you stole her wedding and her dress. Ooh, like I said, she would have had to run my fade, like for real. And on top of all this, no one knows that Tally is pregnant. So due to heartbreak and stress and just overall humiliation, Tally unfortunately loses the baby. This is a really low point for her because Susie just keeps winning, like that evil, heinous bitch, and she can catch no break. Poor Tally. Time jump! It's 3 years later and Tally is at the Oscars. Yeah, Tally. She's still shaken up about Mac and Susie. Like there's no getting over this, honey. She is hurt deeply, especially since 2 years ago, the movie that they worked on got some awards and it won for Best Picture. And when Mac went up there for the acceptance speech, he didn't thank her at all, but he thanked Susie, his wife. And on the bright side of that though, Tally won Best Actress for that movie, so it wasn't all bad. I'm trying to be positive. And she's doing her thing on the red carpet until she notices Mac and Susie behind her, and all of the emotions just come rushing back. Then Mac turned around and looked at her, and he had just so much disgust in his face. I know that tore her up. So it switches to Mac's POV, and we get an update on him. He stopped attending the annual Vanity Fair party because it just reminded him of Tally. You know, the first time that he ever saw her in life. He doesn't love Susie. He don't even like her. I think he's just tolerating her because she's the rebound, and he's using Susie as a crutch to, you know, get over Tally. And it's also very unsettling how happy his parents were when they find out that he dropped Tally for Susie. No. And you want to know what he said about their sex life? Let me just, This man said he was a loyal husband, but in truth, he didn't love her. And the sex sucked. It was like making love to a lobster. Side note, Mandy is pregnant now. Congratulations to Mandy. So it's chapter 29 and Susie is still the miserable bitch she's always been. Because she knows for a fact that Mac is still in love with Tally and that's eating her up. She's only with him for the status really, and guess what she's doing? Guess what she's doing? She is screwing Mac's dad. And of course Mac doesn't know. He don't know shit. So we switch to Tally's POV and she's dealing with Susie, who is being just a terror on set. So they're shooting a scene and Susie decides to throw a drink on Tally and claims it was improv. So Tally tries to be the bigger person. She's like, you know what? I'm gonna turn away. I'm gonna walk off. But then Susie tries to trip her. So Tally says no more. I'm done. No more, ma'am. Tally done had enough, and she ends up punching Susie in the stomach. Let me show y'all how I was acting when I read that part. And the whole thing was caught on camera. So now we're back to Susie POV, and she's like, Bert, you better fire that bitch. And she does not get her way because Bert's like, well, a clause in Tally's contract has been breached, so no. We're not firing her. You started this fight. And Tally also gave the show permission to use like that whole shebang in exchange for like her getting ridden off the show, so she doesn't have to deal with Susie anymore. So it's chapter 30. Tally is no longer on Dana Point. She is finally free. Josh, being the great agent that he is, he has tons of scripts for her to look over to like see what she can get herself into, and she whittles it down to 3 choices: Scorsese, Spielberg, and Mac's new film. And during the meeting, Tally kind of notices something off about Josh, and she's like, do you ever go home? So this kind of makes Tally think that Josh is cheating on Sadie. come in. So Tally and Josh and some other person, they're in a meeting talking about what script she wants to partake in. And it is revealed that Josh has indeed been using again. So after the meeting, Sadie finds out that Josh got into a car crash and unfortunately he did not make it. And then the funeral happens and there's tons of people there because he was a really popular agent and he like represented quite a few stars. So there's like bunch of people there. Things were fine until Tally notices Mac, his parents, and Susie at the funeral. And you want to know what she got on? You want to know what Susie got on? She got on like a red low-cut dress at a funeral. At a funeral, y'all. So Tally's makeup artist is also at the funeral because he knew Josh, and he tells Tally that Susie's been sleeping with Mac's dad. They've been bumping pocketbooks, and this is Tally's like chance. This is when she decides, okay, I'm finally gonna get revenge on Susie because she has been she's been nothing but a pain in my ass these past 3 years. So she's like, enough is enough. I'm getting my due diligence. I'm gonna get revenge. So it's the next chapter and Tally finds a guy to like help her dig up dirt on Susie, and this guy hacks into Susie's like security cameras all over her house, and we get some footage of a revolving door of men that Susie is sleeping with, including Mac's dad. There's also some bedroom footage of Susie and Mac's dad. And then the next chapter after that, we're back in Mac's POV, and he receives a package labeled Susie, and it's the DVD. And he sees everything, and of course he's livid. He tells his assistant to send Susie some flowers and act as if, you know, it's his dad sending the flowers, cause he finna expose her. He gonna pop the up on her. Okay, so it switches to Susie's POV and her little side piece, whichever one she's at now. He finds out about the other guys because he too received a DVD. So she receives the flowers and she's thinking that it's from Mac's dad, so she's planning, you know, to get a little sauce up for him later and kind of seal the deal on getting with him permanently. Being that she thinks that the flowers are from Mac's dad, she assumes that he doesn't know anything about like the sexcapades yet. So a few hours go by, she didn't like got all dressed up for him, you know, she waiting on Mac's dad, and then she goes to the door. Guess who's there? It's Mac. And honey, she is flabbergasted. He's like, yeah, I know all about what you've been doing. So to distract him, Susie gives him some head. So to distract him, Susie gives him some, you know, and because she still thinks that she has that power over him. So when she wants to take it to the bed, he's like, oh, I got what I wanted. No thanks, you can keep that for my dad though, and let him know that I know. And Susie's like, so you gonna go back to Tally now? You gonna run back to her now? And Mac's like, you know what? Yeah, I am. After acting a full-on set, you know, Susie's just being a menace to society, and then she really like tops herself when she slaps Bert, the producer, in front of everybody. So, you know what happens after that. Then she finds out she's been written off the show because nobody can stand it anymore. They can't take it no more. So as a last resort, she turns to Mac's dad in order to save her career. Next chapter, and Mac is so desperate to talk to Tally. He's like, I'll do anything, please, please. So then he calls Sadie in hopes of getting in touch with Tally. He finally, you know, finds a way to do that, and he shows up to her house. And the first thing that Tally asks is like, why did you leave me? And he's like, Gabe. So they break the whole thing down. They find out that, you know, it wasn't what it seemed. It was all set up by Susie, all that stuff. Then Tally tells Mac that she had a miscarriage. She finally tells him. So they get back together and they decide to end Susie's shenanigans for once and for all. Next chapter, we see Susie participating in some self-harm so she can blame the scars on Mac and tell Mac's dad that he's been beating on her. And like an idiot, he believes her. So they're like, you know what? Let's do it tonight. We're gonna divorce them. I'm gonna tell my wife, we're gonna tell Mac, we're just gonna run away together. And so when they get to the house, Tally, Mac, and Mac's mama sitting up like they posted up. Like, we know. A lot of stuff was said. There was a lot of shit going on down in this one scene in the book, okay? And Mac's dad confesses that yes, he was gonna leave his wife. Oh, but the mama had something for his ass. She was like, you know what? You forgot that I have the largest share in the company. You gonna be out of a job, boo. You gonna be broke. And then Mac has some partners, including the rich lady who invested in his film. They're ready to back him up. So they're like, Susie and Mac's dad get what they deserve. They're ended. They're over. Period. And this chapter comes to a satisfying close with Tally punching Susie in the face. So it's the next chapter, the last chapter, and Tally and Mac are finally married. They're happy together. They get their happy ending, all is well, right? We find out that Susie has completely ruined her Hollywood career, and now she has turned to adult films. And she's a natural, because, you know, she was freaky deaky to begin with, so she's doing just fine. And then this book ends with, like, you know, her inner monologue. Not her inner monologue, but, you know, we find out that she is still bitter, and she is still planning to come back out on top and, you know, get revenge on Tally. But my thing is like, girl, you've lost. You've been lost. It's over. It's over. O-V-E-R. For you. No. And that's the end of the book. Now, I left out a lot of minute details, but y'all, listen, if you want to like go deeper into like the minute details, please go read this for yourself, even though I pretty much spoiled it. But it's a good read. Like, I recommend this. This is a, I'm gonna say a 9.7 out of 10. It's not a 10 because of that honey stuff, so yeah. So I'm introducing something new kind of to read in Rouge. So after I read a book, I wanna make a fan cast of the characters that I read about. I did it in the Read in Rouge about Poor Little Bitch Girl, and what I always say is, if the book is good to me, I can see it playing out in my head like a movie. And I'm like, wait, what if this was a movie? So let's get into our fan cast here. So for Tally, I can see this. I see Maud Apatow. You know, she has like that girl next door type of vibe. She kind of embodies what Tally is. She's like a super sweet person by nature. She's just... she gives me, it's giving Maud. I would put her in this role. For Sadie, I would choose Nicola Coughlan. I know she's not like, I don't think she's naturally redhead, but she killed like the red hair in Bridgerton, so I would put her in this role. You know, because they described her to be short, little plump, red hair. She's perfect, and she can embody, I feel like she can embody Sadie's energy, so Nicola for Sadie. And for Mandy, I would say Samantha Boscarino. You know, Skylar from Good Like Charlie and the villain girl from How to Rock. Yeah, she's not short, but I don't know, something about her just screams Mandy, so I would choose her. I would choose her. Now, I had a hard time picking, like, who was gonna play Susie, like, who was gonna be, like, this evil bitch. Now, don't hate me, don't come for me, but I really feel like Anne Hathaway would murder this role. Because Anne Hathaway usually portrays like really sweet people. She's usually the protagonist. Let's see her do something else. She would body this role as Susie. I think she could do it. She could definitely embody that nice, nasty, like villainous type thing. Anne Hathaway for Susie. Now for the men, I wasn't really, I really didn't care that much because I'm like, I was really worried about the women. I'm like, whatever. But for Gabe, I think Matthew Noska, is it Noska? Him. The guy from Star, Jackson from Star. I feel like he would do a good job as Gabe, and I want to see him in that villainous role too, because I've only seen him in Star, and he was a good guy. So let's see you shake it up a little bit, Matthew. For Mac, I choose Evan Peters. I'm not explaining it. I'm Mac for Evan Peters. And then Josh, who I feel like would embody Josh well, Dave Franco. Enough said, yeah. But yeah, that was Starlit by Lisa Rinna. And this is the finished look. I'm very proud of myself. This is like the cleanest makeup I've done in a long time, so that concludes our video for today. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like. I will link the book, I'll put a link to this book, so if you want to read it for yourself and feel everything for yourself, it's in the description, okay? I've actually started a new book. It's called Cackle. Sound familiar? But yeah, I'm starting that one next, or I'm about to get into it, so I'm really excited to read that one. But yeah, keep a lookout for that and subscribe if you want to. I'll see y'all on the next go round. Okay, bye.